Hi, welcome to Urban Green Survival, and this is my second design of my hanging bottle garden farm. This one is going to be in a frame so it can freestand and be moved around. Anyway, I'll quickly just run through the cutting the bottles again. Start off, you're going to need 27 plastic 600ml water bottles. Fill them up with water. Put them in the freezer overnight and make sure the label faces up so the air bubble is this side. Next day, when they're frozen, nice and hard, you'll need to use your 2 1/4 drill bit or whatever size you have, and on the back drill a hole approximately about that end on the bottom, roughly there. That's going to be where your plant's going to grow. The other hole you'll need to do is a 1-inch piece there, and you need to cut out the bottom there. Basically the 1 inch is exactly the same size as the neck of the bottle. That's why I use that one. So it's quite important that you match up the width of your neck of your bottle with your drill piece. In this case I use a 1 inch. And so this is your finished product. You've got your nice clean hole cut in the bottom there, where it's going to join to your next bottle, and then your cut out media there. It's actually going to be this way up. Next stage is piece of cardboard sleeve. Just slide it over the top there. I normally go to just about where the label is. I paint over the label. Some of them are so difficult to peel off that it's just not worth messing with. I paint right over it. Get yourself a nice matte black paint and then just spray that end of your plastic bottle. This is the result. You end up with a nice matte black painted. Reason we do this is because your growing media is in this end, and the roots of the plant, you don't want loads of light hitting them, so this will help protect somewhat of the light penetrating the roots of the plant. In this scenario, how I've set this one up, I've joined 3 bottles together. First step you do is you're going to need pieces of sponge. Stick that in each bottle, and then I use gutter silicone. Put a bead of silicone right around there, and then basically all you do is just push it and twist it in, and you'll find with the thread of the bottle it just more or less pull itself in and falls into place. Line it up. Then using the cap, I drill a couple of small holes, one there and one there, with about a 3mm drill bit. And from inside this one, you will tighten up on the lid of that one. And basically what that does is that locks that solid on there with the silicone sealing it, and this lid screwed on from the inside, it holds it really firm. The reason the sponge is in there, it acts as a filter from the growing medium to stop it falling through. It also slows the rate of the flow of water from bottle to bottle. So basically, go ahead, join 3 bottles, and in my case here, I've done 9 rows of 3, which is your 27 bottles. And that's basically it. It's pretty simple to do. If you look at my other video of the hanging bottle garden, it's a more detailed explanation how to make these bottles with the hole. Next bit from there is the plumbing. Now ideally I wanted to use the 1 inch or 19mm plumbing, but the problem is you can't get this close enough to get the bottles really close, and so you end up wasting. You would only get 7 bottles across on the frame rather than the 9 that I've got there. So as much as that would have been my choice, I've opted for the 13mm fittings, which is ½ inch. Basically you're going to need T-pieces and corner piece and saddles, brackets, and these are very handy, the 13mm to 19mm reducer, and I'll show you why that's really good in a second. And the other thing you'll need is these end caps. I'll put the how many of each of these you're going to need on a sheet on the video at the end. But basically it's pretty simple. Cut a load of pieces of pipe, just pushes onto there, so you're joining, you start off with your end piece and your upright, your T-piece, and so on. Obviously each bottle is going to sit on there. One tip I give you is have a nice hot bowl of water so that you can soak this pipe in before you fit it on. It makes it a lot easier. Now these reducers, I've come up with a great little solution. Small piece of pipe right there, stick your reducer on there like that, and then a piece of 19mm or 1-inch pipe slides onto that. I'm not going to push them all the way down because it's very difficult to get off. But the reason I did that is because that slides perfectly inside to that neck of the bottle, and you don't need to seal it. It's so tight a fit that in that neck of that bottle that you really don't need any silicone, and you don't get any leaks either. So basically you can see my setup there from the bottle. The 19mm pipe pushes inside, slides onto the reducer, onto another piece of pipe, and onto your T-piece. And then in between each T-piece you're going to connect with another small piece of pipe. All held in place with these saddle brackets, which obviously are just hold on there. I found on the bottom you just need a couple, but on the top you're going to need about 8 along the top, because that's where you're going to hang your bottles from. And basically to hang the bottles I'm just using plastic cable ties, drilled a couple of holes in the bottle and tying it to the top of the piping to hold it. But I'll show you more in detail on the next stage. But also a tip, like in your bottles where you're putting your sponge in each piece, you don't need to do it on your bottom row, but you will need to put sponge in each piece of the reducer like that before it's inserted in. Same with on the top. Place a piece of sponge in that pipe before you stick your reducer in. Again, what that does is act as a filter and slows the rate of the water. One of the things I've done is about a 1mm drill piece on these end spaces. My water feed, I'm just going to get this down and show you. Okay, so this is my frame. Once you've got all your bottles together, your frames will, you can measure out your frame to the size of your bottles. One of the mistakes that I've made here is I really wanted this one to be higher up and this one lower down. When I measured it, I didn't allow for the fact that I was going to put this reducer in here, so I lost that extra couple of inches, which means they're nearly all level, and I actually wanted them one off center so that you were staggered on your growing. Again, I show a diagram, but like what I've done up here is using this. On the first one I've just put 1 hole, this one I've put 2 drill holes, this one 3, this one 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. And the reason I did that is when you pour the water in, instead of it all just gushing out this first and second one, because this is only 1 hole, it distributes the water further across. This one's already leaking through by the time the water gets up there, and that's why you need 5 holes on these ones, and then reduce it down to just 1, 2, 3. And so far I've found that to be very, very effective. Now also you could fill this with vermiculite and treat it like your permaculture, your hydroponic system, and you could have a feeder bottle up here and a collection bottle down here and feed it the same as you would the hanging garden. I'm actually going to use this in aquaponics, so I'm going to fill it with clay pebbles and I'm going to feed it into my aquaponics tank. Okay, you can see I've mounted it in the frame here, and what I've done along the top here, I've drilled a hole in the front and back, just a very small one, and pushed a cable tie right the way through, and then I've collected it to the top of the plumbing along the top there. And that's why it's important that you use a lot of brackets along the top on your plumbing to take the weight.